Breaking news tonight, legendary college basketball coach Bobby Knight died today at the age of 83. Knight won a national championship with the Indiana Hoosiers in 1976. He coached there for 29 years. Got his start at West Point, where he's a mentor to legendary coach Mike Krzyzewski, and he finished his career at Texas Tech. It is safe to say he was truly one of a kind. Scott Hamilton with us, longtime watcher of college sports, host of the Scott Hamilton Show, college basketball columnist, and the like. All right, legend sort of doesn't even begin to describe Bobby Knight. Complicated, agreed. There was something about him, though, that sort of single focus on excellence and winning that is different than what we have perhaps today.
It is, and he harkens back. When you think of Bobby Knight, you think of John Wayne, you think of Ted Williams, burly guys who reek of American values and hard work and grit and all that. But you used the right word, complicated. Bobby Knight, a guy who loomed over the sport like the Death Star for decades, and about him in quite some time. The end of his time at Indiana, not the way legends go out. The stories that have begun to unfold about his relationships with some of his former players, some of his former coaches. You mentioned Mike Krzyzewski. That's a complicated relationship right there. When we write the story of Bobby Knight, we're going to write about a maniacal obsession with winning, but we're also going to have to write about the complicated parts of his story away from basketball and even on the court.
Yeah, look, very complicated. 76, 81, 87, he won for IU. But there was something about him, and you said it was a maniacal sort of focus on winning that defined him way more than just 3 national championships. I want to play a soundbite that is particularly apt today of Bobby Knight addressing, and you point out, rightfully, some of his critics. Take a listen.
When my time on earth is gone and my activities here are past, I want they bury me upside down and my critics can kiss my
And people loved him for it.
It's that us against the world mentality. I mean, he could talk like that now and probably get elected to the highest office in the country. People love that kind of.
I was going to say, you know, you think about it, he could have been a senator from Indiana. I never thought about that. It's a great point in terms of just how beloved he was.
Yeah, and his players, there's a real plurality to how his players feel about him. On one hand, they would jump in front of moving cars to protect this man, and they idolize this man. But on the other hand, there's some trauma because they had to endure a boot camp type mentality for X number of years throughout the course of the year, and he still looms over them. They still wanted his approval, even as they grew into adulthood and went on to success on their own.
It almost reminds me of like a general or something, in terms of how he ran things. Yeah.
Yes, Leland, his nickname.
All right. Well, perhaps, and I know you've written about this. We'll have you back to talk about it over the next week or two. But the pendulum has swung pretty far the other way. I think, you know, you think about sort of if it might be swinging back towards Bobby Knight in one way or another. Scott, it's good to see you. Thank you very much. We'll talk soon. This was an interesting conversation.
Appreciate it, Leland.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.